Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. Well, it's a topic we've discussed on the show before, but an important topic, and that is emotional eating. What is it, and why is it important to think about it? Well, my next guest has some of those answers for you. I'm joined by Sara Awija, registered dietitian and manager at Elysian Wellness Centre. Welcome back, Sara. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
So emotional eating, as I said, we have discussed it before, but it is a topic, I think, that's not on top of people's minds. You know, emotional eating, first of all, what is it? How would you describe emotional eating?
Yeah, so you actually made up a good point that it's not on top of people's minds because people don't realize what emotional eating is. Everybody thinks emotional eating is crying over a tub of ice cream.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when a lot of times I ask clients, what's emotional eating? Or, you know, do you emotionally eat? They're like, no, I don't. But standing in front of your fridge looking for food when you're not hungry is emotional eating. You're eating because of boredom.
Right.
So emotional eating is basically eating in response to anything and everything other than physical hunger.
So what are some of those emotions then that people often have? I mean, stress comes to mind right away, right? I can see stress eating. What other reasons do people find themselves emotional eating?
Yeah, so it could be after a long day, you're feeling tired. So most people want to feel better by getting into the high fat foods, the high sugar. You're bored, as mentioned. A lot of people use it as a reward system. You're deserving of it because of the day that you just had, or because you won an award, or whatever the case is. So those are all different types of emotional eating, and of course sadness too.
Yeah, it's interesting too that you went to sweets and ice cream, and I imagine emotional eating is an oftentimes, hey, I'm eating celery sticks and carrot sticks, with a hummus dip. Do we find ourselves, when we do emotionally eat, turning towards those types of foods?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just because those foods are really high in fat and really high in sugar. And
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say those are the kind of nutrients that actually release a lot of dopamine from the brain. So it makes us feel good.
Right. How do you stop it then? I mean, that's the real question here, right?
Yeah. So recognizing that you're doing that is the number one thing. And a lot of people don't even notice after the fact that they've been emotionally eating. So really understanding and recognizing that you emotionally eat, and then knowing what your triggers are.
Okay. How do we eat more mindfully then? Right? Let's say we've sort of caught ourselves and we're stuck in that emotional eating. How do I transform into more mindful eating?
Yeah, so mindless eating really stems from the behaviors of meal times. So if you're eating in front of your computer screen, you're eating while you're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook or in front of a TV. Basically, that's mindless eating because your brain is not registering that you ate.
Interesting.
So you're still going to be hungry later on, and you're going to overeat during the time that you're eating. And because your brain didn't recognize, you're always going to be craving carbs or sugar. And if you're more likely to emotionally eat, it makes you more impulsive towards it.
Do you find, Sara, that we overeat almost at any given meal now? I'm just thinking even, you look at restaurant portions, and, I'm not blaming restaurants, right? I mean, they want to give you value for your money. But I think that's gone into the home now, too, where we're just eating and not realizing, because if I remember correctly, you can eat and be full without even realizing it yet, and you continue just sort of go over that edge, right, a little bit?
Oh, yeah, and you said it. I mean, restaurants set the tone. So overeating has become such a norm. When I work with clients and I tell them what their real portions look like, everybody's always shocked.
Right. So what should a real portion look like? What should my plate look like?
So, I mean, most of your plate really should be vegetables.
Right.
That should fill up most of your plate. Carbs should be about a quarter of it. Protein, a lot less than most people eat.
Really, eh?
Yeah. So, I mean, it varies from person to person, of course, if you're training versus not. But yes, typically most people eat half a chicken breast, let's just say. Your portion should be less than that.
Really? Less than half a chicken breast? So like a quarter?
Exactly, about a quarter.
Is the amount of protein you should be eating. I mean, that's a big change for a lot of people.
Yeah.
How do you get to that point? Where you're eating a proper plate of food? I guess, do you just gradually slow yourself down?
You could gradually slow yourself down. I mean, the number one tip is mindful eating. It's really eating away from a screen. It is such a game changer. And I don't know if you eat in front of a screen, but you should.
I do too often. Yeah, guilty as charged for sure.
You should really try eating away from a screen and see the satisfaction when you finish your meal versus when you're in front of your phone or TV.
And I think you touched on it. That's why I guess then, maybe an hour later, people are reaching for a bag of chips. People are grabbing the tub of ice cream out because they haven't had that mindful eating,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
experience. What's the long-term danger of continuing to emotionally eat?
It could eventually lead to binge eating and restrictive cycles where you binge eat because you're emotionally eating, you're not feeling great, you get that hit of dopamine, and then you feel so guilty about it that you end up restricting yourself. And then that will form into an eating disorder.
Right. When do you seek help? Right, because some people are probably at home and going, oh, I can correct this myself, and then other people are probably saying to themselves, but I can't stop. Like, I need somebody to help me. Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest signs is when you do start eating uncontrollably, there's no structure, it's no longer breakfast, lunch, dinner, and, you know, a snack or two, it's every hour, every 2 hours. And emotional eating comes on suddenly.
Really?
Whereas hunger is very gradual.
Right.
You get these signs of, okay, you know, you feel it a bit in your stomach, a bit of growling. Whereas emotional eating is bam, you need something. I need to eat something right now.
Right, right. I'm just thinking even grocery shopping nowadays too, right? I mean, as a registered dietitian with food inflation, any recommendations for people to, you know, continue to eat healthy, but, you know, affordably?
Yeah, so bulk buying is definitely a smart idea. So something like Costco, for example, frozen fruit and vegetables. A lot of people think it's not healthy, but they are frozen at peak nutrition time. So it's even more healthy technically than fresh.
Interesting, okay.
And it lasts longer.
Right. If somebody wants, I mean, this is what you do with clients, right?
Yes.
You sit down and you help them with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
How do they reach you, Sarah?
Yeah, so they can find us on our website, Elysian Wellness Centre, and they can book an appointment online if that's easier, or they can call the clinic and book an assessment.
You've got me now thinking about my own eating habits. Do you eat in front of a screen, Derek? I almost wanted to say, no, I never do, but I do, as I said, much too often. And so I think that's a lot of food for thought for everybody out there. Yeah. Pardon the pun. Thanks so much again for joining us here today. Really appreciate it. Again, visit the website for a consultation. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this. Don't go anywhere.